Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Ms. Bridgewater.
Good afternoon, Judge.
And to what date should we reset the cases if needed?
December the 21st.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and this is the calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. We call this the Expedited Accusation calendar. This are cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked, these cases were soon thereafter formally accused by the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Hence, today would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. For just a couple of housekeeping matters, if you're appearing via Zoom, you should be dressed and behaving as if you are in an actual courtroom. So if you're driving or smoking or eating or drinking, we will remove you from the Zoom proceedings. Excuse me. As I was saying, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judge. When I call your name, I will let you know what is your new accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, to appoint counsel to represent you if needed, as well as to address the question of your bond if one needs to be set. We will also give you a new court date if required. For some of you, your next court date is going to be December 21st, 2023 at 2 p.m. At 9 a.m. Let me correct that. Your next court date is going to be December 21st, 2023 at 9 a.m. And that proceeding is going to be held via Zoom. In other words, it's going to be a virtual proceeding. So if anybody plans to attend that proceeding, please make sure that you get the Zoom link. For the defendants, when I call your case, I would like you to remember two things. First of all, your right to remain silent. Anything you choose to discuss about your case during the course of this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. So please only discuss your case with your attorney and not during these open court proceedings. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. We will have defense attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or from our conflict defense list to represent you. All right, who do we have first in courtroom 2?
This is going to be position number 21, Williams.
I'm sorry, I heard 20 something. Williams?
21, Williams.
Okay. Are there any interpreter cases required that need to go into a breakout? Okay. And I saw something on the chat. Someone needs to go into a breakout. Miss Ate, you need to speak to Mr. Barr.
Oh no, just a breakout for when we take the case.
All right, understood. Okay, we have India Tion Williams in courtroom 2, case number 23CR7786B, accused of battery, family violence. Ms. Williams, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Ms. Hardy, any prior criminal record history?
Excuse me, this defendant has a total of 6 arrest cycles, with arrests out of Florida, California, and Arizona. Their last arrest was June the 7th, 2020, out of Tampa, Florida, for battery. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR through the jail. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
On December the 5th, law enforcement was dispatched to the Crown Plaza Hotel located at 1325 Virginia Avenue, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Taylor Kelly. She advised that she invited her ex-girlfriend, the defendant, over to the hotel room. That good time ended shortly as a verbal altercation occurred that turned physical. She advised that the defendant pulled her wig off, started to hit her in the face with a closed fist. She also scratched her on her right hand, leaving her with a visible laceration and a broken nail. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, Ms. Taylor Kelly, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. I won't ask for a stay away because I don't believe they were residing at that hotel. They were just visiting. I also was sound for the victim, Miss Taylor Kelly. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your
Mr.
Honor, I
Keith,
think
yeah.
she's on the calendar as well.
Oh, well.
All right, that's a cross defendant. Okay.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Right.
This was a
Miss-
dual arrest.
Okay, Miss McLeod, I was going to do a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with Taylor Kelly. And just to maintain a current address, no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with Taylor Kelly. After today, Miss Williams, you're to stay 200 yards away from Miss Kelly. Do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And you're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not to possess any weapons or firearms. You have to maintain a current mailing address with the court at all times so we can send you summons for your next court date. And don't forget to report to pretrial every month or avoid getting arrested because that could jeopardize your signature bond. Thank you.
Is that a level 1?
Yes, all bonds are going to be level 1 unless I expressly state otherwise.
Okay.
Thank you.
Miss Kelly is position 11. I don't know if you want to try to do her next.
Yes. Deputy Francois, is Taylor Kelly in the courtroom?
Yeah, I was getting ready to do her next.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Taylor Kelly is a cross defendant in with regards to Miss Williams, case number 23 CR 7776J, accused of battery, family violence from December 5th, 2023. And Miss Kelly, you've also been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Keith Cook. Would that be correct? All right. And
I'm sorry, I may have this bad problem of not unmuting, so
All right.
it is correct.
Understood. Thank you, Mr.
Even
Cook.
though a lot of people would like me to be muted, but you know.
No, sir, not here, not here. All right,
Okay,
want to
thank
hear you
you.
loud and clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Walker, do you have the same recommendation?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. And her attorney, Mr. Cook, I'm going to set also a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with India Williams. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to maintain a current mailing address with the court so that she won't miss out on her next court date. Miss Kelly, this is an open active case against you, so please be sure that you respond to the court summons when required and that you report to pretrial every month. If you don't report to pretrial or if you get arrested again, you lose your signature bond and it will be converted to a surety or cash bond. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position 16, Salazar.
This is State versus Darlene Salazar Garcia, charged with simple battery, family violence. Ms. Salazar Garcia, do you speak and understand English?
Yes.
All right. You are charged with simple battery, family violence from December 4th, 2023, and your new accusation is 23 CR 7720Y. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 2 arrest cycles in Georgia. The last arrest was May the 25th, 2022 out of Gwinnett County for battery, family violence, and cruelty to children, and that case appears to be open. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. If I could just one moment, my computer froze.
All right, this case has been reset. 1, 2.
Right, I think that's why
This
it's
is the
not
third day. All right.
right. I'm looking it up now, but in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the intersection of Crabapple and Rucker Road, where they spoke to the victim, whose name is Diana Garcia. She advised that her and her mother were engaged in a verbal disagreement that turned physical. I believe the defendant got out of the car and began to attack the victim. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, Diana Garcia, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. Miss Diana Garcia, do you want contact with Darlene Salazar Garcia?
I do because I'm the primary care for her.
All right, let me put you under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the information you provide will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, what do you mean by primary caregiver? What's that mean?
Okay, so she suffers from epilepsy.
Okay, so she's got a medical condition.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And are there any other occupants in the home?
There is. I have 8 other children.
Is there anyone else to look after Miss Darlene?
Yeah, she stays with my mom and my sister.
Is there anyone else who is that from a separate home?
Yes, it is.
So you live in one house and she lives in another house.
Yes, I do, ma'am. But since my mom has health issues, I'm the one always taking her to her appointments and surgeries or anything that she needs.
Okay, thank you. You may mute your screen. Mr. Walker, do you know who is the alleged victim in the Gwinnett County case? She's got an open battery case.
I do not have the information, Your Honor.
All right.
I do. It's my sister and her son and my nephew.
So she's got an open violent case against other family members.
Yes.
Understood. Okay. Miss Kim, I'm going to set a signature bond.
Yes.
It's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. She has to report to pretrial once a month. Do you know if your client is employed?
She is not employed, Your Honor.
Okay. Once she has to report to pretrial once a month, and within 60 days of being released, she must enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. That is a 24-week program for DV classes. And Ms. Salazar Garcia, this is non-negotiable. If you do not enroll in such classes within 60 days from today, the pretrial services is authorized to revoke your $5,000 bond and convert it to a surety bond, which means you are back in jail and you will have to pay $5,000 to be released. Do you understand? Do you understand, Ms. Darlene?
Yes.
You're to have no further violent contact with Diana Garcia. You're not to have any violent contact with any family members. You already have an open case in Gwinnett, and this is your second open case. If you get arrested again, not only will your signature bond be canceled, you'll be spending the rest of the time either in the Fulton County Jail or in the Gwinnett County Jail, as simple, or whichever jail you end up in next.
Okay.
All right, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And your next court date will be sent to your current address. And we have that as Concepts Drive, 21 Drive. Is that correct? Is that your current address?
Yes.
All right. Within 30 days, please come down to the clerk's office and confirm your mailing address. You sound uncertain. So please be sure that you show proof of enrollment in the classes within 60 days to your pretrial officer. And good luck with your case. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 4, Cato, you're done.
Shavante Cato is accused of battery in case 23 CR 7772C from October 20th, 2023. Ms. Cato, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 1 arrest cycle out of South Carolina, a misdemeanor conviction in 2017 for public disorderly conduct. And that was their last arrest out of Dorchester County, South Carolina. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Walker,
Yes, Your Honor.
situation with Willie James Davenport?
Yes, he is the victim. Law enforcement was dispatched to 693 Fielding Lane. He advised that the defendant is his ex-girlfriend. She stated to him that she had some mail and she came to his home. When he opened the door, she greeted him with a fist, knocking his dentures out of his mouth. And after we spoke with the victim, he had to be treated at the hospital and his nose was actually fractured.
Oh dear.
We are looking to transfer this case now that we have the information in those medical records. The state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond, a no contact with the victim, Mr. Willie Davenport, and to stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, I would sound for the victim, Mr. Davenport.
All right, so she allegedly came to the property and there was a verbal dispute, right? According to
Shortly
the
after
warrant.
you opened the door, is my understanding.
Okay. All right, Mr. Davenport, if you are on the Zoom. All right, is there anybody who is appearing on Zoom who wants to chime in for the case involving Shavonte Cato? No one? Okay. And what's the state recommending for a bond?
It was a $2,000 surety, the standard conditions, no contact, stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. Ms. Kim, they're seeking to upgrade this case to a felony and hence they're seeking a surety bond. Any response?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 25 years old, Your Honor. And she denies the allegation and she claims that Mr. Willie Davenport has MH issue. We would not go into any detail because of it is something sensitive information. We do believe that my client is innocent from this case, and she does have entertainment job. She has she's been working. And because of the job and income, she's not going to be qualified for public defender services after this. She has completed GED. She has no objection to stay away and no further contact. And yet we would like to request for one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit to retrieve her personal belongings that are in that location. They used to live together, Your Honor. So that's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bond is.
Yes, Your Honor. This Mr. Davenport.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Are you driving?
No, ma'am. I'm currently parked.
Okay. The host can change that name to Willie Davenport. Mr. Davenport, if you want to contribute to the hearing, you will need to raise your right hand and be placed under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony provided will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. Have you provided the prosecution with your medical records as a result of this incident?
I provided to the investigator.
Okay.
And
so to the investigator, victim advocate. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And the allegation that the information that you provided to the investigating officer, Detective Walker, on November 14th, were those statements all true and correct?
Yes, they were, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add other than what you told the investigator?
I had the thing of it is the stuff that she's talking about coming to my house again to get. I had been told her to come get those particular belongings because they were sitting in my garage. She came to my house complaining about mail.
No, anything else that over and above what you told the detective. So you still have her belongings?
No, I don't. Those belongings, I told her I was setting them out and I did that.
I'm sorry, what did you do with them?
I placed them out. I told her that I was sitting them out on my front porch. She never got them. They were sitting out there the night she came over to my house.
Okay.
She didn't want those. She wanted mail.
All right. Thank you. Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else to add?
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to accept the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with Willie James Davenport. Ms. Cato, you have to stay 200 yards away from Mr. Davenport and you cannot return to 693 Fielding Lane in Southwest Atlanta. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or firearms. In addition to that, I'm denying your request for a one-time visit. You're not to return to that location. Any personal belongings that you possess that apparently were with Mr. Davenport, you can pursue that down the road through a civil action. If you have mail, you can go through the appropriate authorities to have your mail forwarded to your correct address. Speaking of addresses, you must maintain a current mailing address with the court at all times. If you change your address, you need to provide the changes to the court in writing. Your next court date is going to be December 21st at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Position 3, Lori Bullock.
Mr. Davenport, you're free to go. Lori Bullock is accused of battery family violence from December 6, 2023 in case 23 CR 7771E. Ms. Bullock, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Is there a cross-defendant or a co-defendant in this
I
case?
believe so. I think this was a dual arrest, Your Honor, with Davis Bullock.
Yeah. Is there a Davis Bullock in the courtroom as well?
It's David.
David.
Position number 2.
All right, got it. Thank you. And where is Mr. Bullock?
He's here in the courtroom, Judge.
All right. All right, Mr. Bullock, is there a way to put him behind Ms. Bullock?
Where's Bullock? And right there.
And who represents Mr. Bullock?
I do, Your Honor, Peter
Miss
Kim.
Kim? All right.
He had 2 different names.
Oh, Miss Hardy, could you mute your screen, please? Thank you. All right, David Bullock's case number is 23 CR 7770E, and he's also a cross-defendant charged with battery family violence from the same incident date, December 6th of this year. Both of you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and both of you have a right to counsel. With regards to David Bullock, it's going to be Miss J. Kim, and with regards to Lori Bullock, it's going to be Maureen McLeod. Any priors, Miss Hardy, on either one of them?
Neither one of them have a criminal history, and they're both recommended for UJRs through the jail.
All right. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 20050 Windermere Way. Upon speaking with both parties, it appears that they are mother and son. They were having a disagreement. Her son moved into that location approximately 4 months ago. That disagreement turned physical upon the law enforcement officer's investigation. It was determined that it was mutual combat and both parties were taken into custody. The state is seeking a signature bond through the jail on both cases, if you will. We are asking for the son to have a stay away from the incident location. I believe that it is his mother's home. And we are asking for a no contact between the parties, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. Let me see. Who Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
This happened apparently at Windermere Way. Does your client have an alternative address?
Yes, he will be residing with his sister, and he will provide alternative mailing address to the court within 30 days.
And Miss McLeod does, okay, that makes it a little easier. Okay, on both cases, the bond is going to be set at $2,000 each. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services for both. Both of you will be reporting to pretrial services after today. You're both to have no contact with each other. You're both going to stay 200 yards away from each other. Miss Lori Bullock, you may return to your home. Mr. David Bullock, you are to stay away from the Windermere Way location in Roswell. And within 30 days of being released, you are to provide your new mailing address to the court in writing. Both of you are to attend and complete the one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services. You are both not to consume any drugs, any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. If you both possess any weapons or firearms and it's discovered, please understand that that could be a violation of your bond, which can be revoked. If you possess any firearms, they must be surrendered to the authorities for destruction. Mr. Yes, Ms. McLeod.
Yes. My client had asked if we could ask the court to no further violent contact. She's okay with him not coming back there, but she wants to have no further violent contact in the sense that she would like to be able to speak to him since he is her son.
Understood, but this is a domestic violence situation, and presently the court is going to have a no further contact. I understand, Ms. Bullock, but the problem is you both have been arrested in this matter. That doesn't make it all right within 24 hours. All right. Now, if you decide to initiate contact with him, or if he decides to initiate contact with you, the only persons who are going to be back in jail are the both of you. So after today, you are both to stay 200 yards away from each other and not communicate in any way, form, or manner. And Mr. Bullock, I will allow you a one-time visit to the Windermere Way. You can go there with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. Both cases are going to be further noticed, and you will both get court dates in the mail. Thank you.
Thanks, Your
Thank
Honor.
you.
Position 7, Cortez. He's going to
Neighbor Cortes, Cortes. Accusation 23 CR 7775Y is accused of battery, family violence from October 22nd, 2023. Ms. Cortes, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant does not have any criminal history, excuse me, and is recommended for a UJR through the jail.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Sean. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 269 Buckhead Avenue, where they spoke to the victim and Miss Allison Hathaway. She advised that her and the defendant, I believe, who is her girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, were engaged in a verbal disagreement. The defendant became aggressive and started pushing her and throwing items on the ground. The victim stated she tried to get away by running towards the door, but the defendant grabbed her purse, which was around her shoulder, and pulled her back into the apartment. There was a visible scratch on the victim's cheek. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, a 2-day anger awareness course, a stay away from the incident location, and no contact with the victim. And I was down for the victim, Miss Allison Hathaway.
All right. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, they were in a relationship.
Does she live at a different location now?
Well, not since she's been arrested, but that would be her next location.
As long as she doesn't live at the same location as the victim, the signature bond will go through. Any objection?
Well, that's where she was, but she has other places to go. She does not have to go back to that location.
Sounds good. Bond is going to be set at $2,000. The signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with Allison Hathaway. To stay away from 26. Was it 269 or maybe I've got I had a 3040 Peachtree Road.
That's the address I have. It's 3040 Peachtree Road.
Okay. Yes. And the victim is on the line, Your Honor, Miss Hathaway.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Miss Hathaway, Miss Cordes has been granted a signature bond, which means she doesn't have to pay for the bond, but she cannot have any contact with you. And she needs to stay away from the 3040 Peachtree Road location. Is that the correct location? I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay. Any objection to the did you want to add anything else?
I would like to ask something.
All right, you need to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that statements you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
I would like to request the no violence contact instead of no contact.
Your face was scratched. There was a lot of pulling and shoving, according to the warrant. And apparently she allegedly tried to grab your purse. You were able to free yourself and fled to call the police. Excuse me, no. Why would you want contact with this individual?
So she can get her stuff, and we got property together to
Okay.
hand.
That the bond is going to be $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Miss Cortez, no contact, absolutely no contact with Allison Hathaway, and to stay away from her home at Peachtree Road. You can go back to the location one time only with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any firearms. And your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. So since you cannot be living with Ms. Hathaway, you have 30 days to update the court in writing of your current mailing address. Failure to do so can result in a warrant for your arrest for failure to appear. Thank you.
Position 9, Gruger.
This is Denise Gruger, accused of hit and run, failure of the driver to stop or return to the scene of the accident from March 15th, 2023. Ms. Gruger, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has one arrest cycle in Georgia. It was their last arrest out of Cobb County, June 26, 2012, for a DUI, and they're recommended for a UJR through the jail. Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to a collision at 657 Holcomb Bridge Road, where they spoke to the victims, Mr. Marcus and Ruby Strickland. They advised that they were, I believe, in front of a China Garden restaurant on that street, Holcomb Bridge Road, when they were struck by the defendant. The defendant did leave the scene. The victims were able to go inside the restaurant. I guess the defendant had just left there from ordering food and ascertained the defendant's name and telephone number, and that's how she was identified. The state is asking for $1,000 surety bond. No contact with the victims, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Cook, I'm going to set the bond at $2,500. It's a signature bond through the jail. No driving unless she has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. And since we already have this information, then that's something that the alleged victims can also go through the insurance company or through civil court. No contact with Marcus and Ruby Strickland. No violent contact with Marcus and Ruby Strickland. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 6, Clemson.
Tracy Clemensons.
Yes, ma'am. Tracy Clemenson Herring.
There's a herring at the end?
Yes, ma'am.
Like the seafood?
Bird, Herron.
Oh, a heron. Okay, got it. Okay. So this is 23 CR 7774G. And Ms. Clemenson Herron is accused of simple battery from July 20th, 2022. Ms. Herron, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This is her first arrest.
All right, Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 9500 Mediac Bridge Road, where they spoke to the victim, Miss Ebony Bailey. She advised that she was at that location picking up her children. The defendant seemed to have her vehicle blocked in. Upon getting out the car and asking the defendant to move her car so the victim would be able to leave the location, the defendant also got out the car. Some type of argument occurred, and the defendant became violent with the victim, grabbing her on her left arm, causing multiple scratches. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, a 2-day anger awareness course, no contact with the victim, Ebony Bailey, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we would ask or sound for the victim rather, whose name is Miss Ebony Bailey.
Ebony Bailey?
Yes, Your Honor. I think she's supposed to be on the Zoom.
Ebony Marie Bailey, you're on the Zoom. If you
Yes,
want,
ma'am.
if you want to address the court, you would need to start your video.
I'm trying to.
All right. If you'd like to contribute to the proceedings, I'll need to place you under oath.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where were you parked? What was that? What was the context of the scene?
So I was picking my kids up from camp, and we were at a church. So it was under the, you know how you drive up and pick the kids up or whatever.
Okay,
She was
so
parked.
I just wanted to know what was the context. So y'all were some kind of location to in a queue to pick folks up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And have you encountered Miss Clemenson Heron since then?
No.
All right.
This
So
is my
y'all
first
don't
time
go
picking
to
her
the
up.
same church, your children don't go to the same school?
I don't know what her reason was there. I'm assuming she had a kid that went there too. I'm not sure, but my kids go to that camp every summer.
Okay, but you and Miss Clemenson Heron have not had any contact since then?
No, that was my first and last.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Miss Bailey. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Cook, your client's bond is going to be set at 2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. Miss Clemenson Heron, you are to have no contact with Ebony Marie Bailey. Since you've seen her now on Zoom, or if you see her in the future, you have to stay 200 yards away from her, not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including through a third party. And please maintain a current mailing address with the court so that we can send you notices for your next court date. This is an open, active case that must be resolved either through a resolution or through trial.
Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Cook?
My client actually works at the church. I do not know what the complainant, where she works or how much she comes through the church property, but my client needs to go back to the church.
Oh, Mr. Cook, I haven't put a stay away from the church.
No, I know. I just don't know
But
when
if
they
she
might
sees,
cross
if she
paths.
sees Miss Bailey there, she needs to turn around and walk away.
Okay, well,
Or she can let her employer know that
okay, well,
that's
just
a no contact, so she
Right.
cannot be in the same office if Miss Bailey happens to come in.
okay, just for the record, she denies these allegations completely.
Noted.
She believes that Miss Bailey was the aggressor.
So irrespective, Miss Clemenson Harrison is the one with the charges. So
No, I understand.
her responsibility to make sure that she maintains the stay away. And so she either needs to let her employer know or make sure that if she sees Miss Bailey in the vicinity, she either leaves the building or she has to stay away out of Miss Bailey's eyesight and earshot.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Miss Clemenson Heron.
Position 20, Webster.
This is State versus Nicholas Webster. He's got 2 counts of abandonment of child support from September 20th, 2023. And Mr. Webster, you have a right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. And Mr. Walker, are there purge amounts on this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a child support matter with a purge amount of $376. I don't know if you want to split the baby, so to speak. I don't know if that's the best phrase.
Okay.
Half on each count, or put 376 on one count and signature bond through the jail on the other count. But it is a purge amount of 376.
All right. Ms. Kim, the only thing I can do is put a total bond amount basically it's a purge amount of $376. And Mr. I have to get my little handy calculator and do 376. and it's $188 on each count. And on the bond, it will be listed as 188 cash / purge amount.
Sure.
And once he makes the purge amount, then he'll be released from jail, and the case will be closed out.
Yes.
His next court date is December 21st.
Thank you.
That concludes your case, Mr. Webster.
Thank you.
Position 17, Sims. Sims?
I believe this is the one that I requested for MH breakout, Your Honor.
Okay. Francois, position 17 would have to be in a breakout along with Miss position 1.
You got the wrong one.
Position 19, Watkins.
It's on field.
No, you did. They're gonna do your case at the end. The Watkins.
Rodriguez Watkins is case 23 CR 7784J, accused of battery, family violence from April 21st, 2023. Mr. Watkins, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 31 arrest cycles, felony conviction in 2004 for possession of controlled substance, 2015 possession of cocaine and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Their last arrest was December the 3rd, 2023, out of DeKalb for obstruction, theft by receiving stolen property, sale of cocaine. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
How did he get to Fulton County from DeKalb?
This happened in April, Your Honor, so I'm guessing we had a hold on him.
Okay. Mr. Walker, what's the state's recommendation?
And it just also to bring to the court's attention that the state added according to children charge. I believe that the clerk has updated and pulled that accusation down.
That would be correct.
Okay, so to the count of battery, family violence, we are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, the same for the according to children. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 1700 Richmond Avenue. I believe that the victim, whose name is Priscilla Coffer, was at some type of event. The defendant is her child's father. She was blindsided by the defendant and was punched and dragged. We are asking for a no contact, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we assign for the victim, Ms. Priscilla Coffer.
Ms. Priscilla Coffer? Priscilla Coffer, I see someone with iPhone, yada, yada, yada. I don't know what that is, but okay. Ms. McLeod, this is a signature bond to pretrial, but no contact. And I'm going to include the no contact with the minor child as well.
Your Honor, they share a 2-year-old child, my client tells me. He tells me that since the incident, he has been seeing his child. So, you know, this happened in April. It's a good 9 months ago, Your Honor. And he does want to see the child. He and the mother are not in a relationship at all, but he has been seeing the child and would really like to continue to see his daughter.
The battery is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You can sign up for your bond, Mr. Watkins, but you have to comply with the following conditions. You have to maintain a current mailing address with the court at all times. You have to have no contact with Priscilla Coffer. You have to stay 200 yards away from her, not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, not even through a third party or through a social media. You can obtain visitation and joint custody rights with your minor child by filing a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court, and get a superior court order to establish your visitation and joint custody arrangement with the child or children that you share with Ms. Coker. Until you get that legitimation order, you're to have no contact with the minor child in question. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And while you are out on a signature bond, you will enroll in a domestic violence program within 60 days of being released. So by your third visit with your pretrial services, you must show proof that you have enrolled in a DVIP program. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod, have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
What was the cases that need the breakout? You said position 17 and what else?
I have position 1 and position 17.
Okay. Position 10, Hewley.
Ricky Hewley II has got 2 counts of abandonments of child support from November 2nd, 2023. The case is 23 CR 7782H. Mr. Hewley, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Mr. Walker, is there a purge amount?
Yes, purchase amount is $350, and there's 2 juveniles that are in question, so we could do similar to the last case, split it per count.
I think it's 175. That makes it 350. Right? Any response, Ms. Atay? Otherwise, it's going to be 175 cash / purge amount on each count. Once he makes the purge amount, the case will be closed and he'll be released.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. This case is reset to December 21st, pending payment of the purge amount. Mr. Hewley, do you understand?
No, I don't.
On each, you have 2 counts of failure to pay child support. Right now, there's an outstanding amount of $350 for both charges. If you pay the $350, you'll be released from jail and it will close the case out. The $350 will then be transmitted to the Office of Child Support Services, and you will then continue with your child support obligations. Thank you.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
I am served with 2 counts, and the first count was thrown out.
I don't know how. I just know those are the 2 warrants that have been issued by the courts. If you have a problem with the accounting, you can contact the Office of Child Support Services. Thank you.
Position 14, Norwood. No.
Mr. Walker, do you want to do this in a breakout, or do you want to wait till the end?
We can wait to the end, Your Honor.
All right. Nor would have to be till the end. So let's put that down for another case to be addressed at the end. Have we addressed everybody? Is there a Christopher Cherry?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. Position 14, Norwood.
Oh no, that's going to be addressed at the end. I've got a wave sounding on one of the charges.
For Mr. Norwood.
Yeah.
Position 13. And then.
This is Edward Nadem, case number 23CR 7778Y. Mr. Nadem is accused of battery, family violence from November 8th, 2023. Mr. Nadem, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atay. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 12 arrest cycles in Georgia. The last arrest was September the 22nd, 2023, out of Fayette for forgery. There is a hold out of Fayetteville, Georgia for an FTA. The date of that is October the 10th, 2023. There's also an open case in Cobb County for forgery and ID theft. Same charges in Henry County. Clayton County, there's an open case for aggravated assault. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2103 Alexander Circle. They spoke to the victim, Cedrell Harrell. Ms. Harrell advised that her and the defendant used to reside together. I believe it was her boyfriend at the time. Were engaged in a verbal altercation. Apparently, is alleged that he choked her and hit her with a broom handle. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety, a no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. Of course, we assigned for the victim, Ms. Harrell.
Cedrell iPhone? Okay. You have to stop walking around.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Yes.
Right,
I
Ms.
spoke.
Please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
So this happened just early this last month. Do you wish to have him stay away from you?
No. Honestly, I spoke to the solicitor today. I'm wishing to drop my case, period. I don't know if I need to talk to further more details because I know we can't discuss the incidents on the case via this courtroom case because it's a bond hearing. Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just curious to know why you believe that he's not a threat to you.
Because with the incident that took place, the broomstick situation, it wasn't like an intentional hit. I was really mad at the fact that he had took my dog that I did gift him, and I do have proof that it was a gift, but I paid $3,000 for that dog. And I was also mad that my property was broke. We were fighting over the broomstick, and I ended up getting hit. So it was evidence of me being hit in my head, but it was an intentional hit. As far as like the choking, well, it's just like it's like a lot going on with that situation that I'd rather speak with the judge.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that the victim told law enforcement that the defendant has also choked her in the past as well. So
yes, I'm reading the warrant. All right.
Yes, I've have stories about our past, but I was the aggressor in the past.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Nadim, this warrant is rather concerning. I'm not sure whether the prosecution is going to be seeking a felony matter. Ms. Atay, do you have any comment?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 28 years old. He's currently, he's graduated from high school. He works at Dick's Sporting Goods. He's been working there regularly for the last 3 months while attending a nursing program. He has his final exams or clinicals next week. He only has 1 year left of the nursing program. And I'm requesting a signature bond, especially in light of the complaining witnesses' statements.
Okay. Bond is going to be set at $3,500. That's going to be a surety bond. I applaud the fact that Mr. Nadim is a student and employed. However, I'm completely perplexed on how he's a multi-county offender with multiple open cases in different counties. Based on the allegations of the warrant, it's rather concerning that I believe he may pose a threat not only to the community, but also to the alleged victim. He's to stay away from 2103 Alexander Circle in Atlanta, Georgia. He's to have no contact with Cedrell Powell. and no illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, and his next court date is going to be December 21st. Thank you.
Position 12, Murray.
Mr. Marquise Chiron Murray is 23 CR 7777Y. This is misdemeanor charges stemming from a traffic incident of December 6, 2023. And he's been accused of attempting to misrepresent a car tag, operating a vehicle on a suspended registration, giving false information to an officer, and driving while license suspended or revoked. Mr. Murray, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is going to be Ms. Atay. Ms. Hardy, any priors?
This defendant has a total of 5 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio. Felony conviction in 2021 for theft by receiving stolen property. Their last arrest was February 11th, 2020 out of Clayton County for driving without a license and affixing materials that reduce visibility.
Okay.
And they appear to be on probation for that. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement ran the tags of a white Dodge Durango. Upon reading those tags, it came back to a black Nissan Sentra. The officer made a traffic stop, made contact with the driver, who is the defendant. The defendant gave a false name of Dwight Lindsay. He was cited for the following traffic violations. The state is asking for a $500. Let me get this right. I'm sorry. $500 surety to the giving false information, $500 surety to the driving with a suspended license. For attempting to misrepresent tags and suspended registration, we are asking for an SOB through the jail, Your Honor. And obviously, no driving without a valid license.
Right. Ms. Atay, any comment on the split bond?
I would ask that Your Honor consider making it all a signature bond through the jail or pre-trial. It is a traffic violation. The prior arrest in 2020, I mean, it was tint and another traffic violation. I don't see concerning history, so I would request a signature bond through the jail or pre-trial.
I was going to do the whole thing as a surety bond, but since the state is agreeing to a split bond, on the attempting to misrepresent the tag, is going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Suspended registration is a $500 signature bond through the jail. And the giving false information and the driving while license suspended, it's $500 each. So the total bond is going to be $1,000, $2,000, $2,500 split bond. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license attached to his person while operating a moving vehicle, has adequate insurance and proper registration, the correct tag and license plate attached to the correct vehicle. Thank you. Next court date is going to be December 21st.
I'm sorry, Judge, I had walked away. Can you please repeat the bond again?
All right. Attempting to misrepresent a tag is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Suspended registration is $500 signature bond through the jail. Giving false information is $500 surety. Driving while license suspended or revoked is $500 surety.
Thank you. Okay. Position 8, Griffin.
Sanchez Griffin is accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass. The incident date appears to be September 2nd, 2023, and his accusation number is 23 CR 7768F. Mr. Griffin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Atay. And Ms. Hardy, any record on Mr. Griffin?
This defendant has 6 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was August the 4th, 2023 out of Fulton County for battery family violence. That case is still open. The number is 23 CR 004806F. And they're recommended for a UJR level 3. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1890 Myrtle Drive, where they met with the victim of Miss Melissa Jones. She advised the defendant is her ex-boyfriend. He forced her way into the home. And I'd like to point out some of this information was not in the warrant, but we subsequently got the instant report. And per the report, she advised to the officer that he forced her way into the home with a firearm and threatened to shoot and kill her. Obviously, we have sent this to the DA's office. We got the report late in the morning, so we're still awaiting a response. That 23 CR case number that pretrial read, that is with the same victim. So there is great concern about the victim's safety, as this is the second incident that they have, the second open case, and it seems like things have escalated because now a firearm has is involved, if you will. To the one count simple battery, the state is asking for a $15,000 surety bond. To the one count of criminal trespass, the state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond. A no contact with the victim and a stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And let me just check one last thing, Your Honor, if I can. Yes, and looking at the bond order from the previous case, he was already ordered to stay away and have no further contact, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time.
Mr. T?
Yes, Your Honor. Melissa Jones is on the call, I believe.
Oh, yeah, and we was out for Ms. Jones.
All right. Melissa, is that the iPhone? If Melissa Jones is on the Zoom and wants to be heard, she's more than welcome to unmute and start the video. Otherwise, we are proceeding. Miss Jones, we can see you, but we can't hear you. You need to look at your screen and unmute and stop moving around unless you're seeking for help. All right. All right. While she figures that out, Mr. Tate.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 31 years old. He does share a 3-year-old with the complaining witness, who stated to me that they've been fine. And she's on the call, so I guess once she's unmuted, she can speak. He does deny the allegations in the warrant. He works at the airport as, or he just started working at the airport at a restaurant. He's completed high school through grade 10. He qualifies for public defender services, so we'll be representing him for his next case. He is not a flight risk, understands his obligation to return to court. He can't afford any bond. I believe the complaining witness has stated that she does want contact with him. So we would ask for no further violent contact, the ability to return to the home at 1890 Myrtle Drive, and a signature bond.
And Your Honor, I hear that counsel is asking that he's returning to the home. Maybe counsel didn't hear me, but actually you were the judge on his previous case where you gave him a $2,000 surety and you ordered a no contact and a stay away. For that incident in August, it looks like he spent about 6 days in jail. He was released on the 10th. And then I believe this incident happened less than 30 days. And shortly thereafter him being released. So.
All right. Miss Belissa with a B.
Yes.
All right, Miss Jones, my name is Judge Law, and we are back in court again with Sanchez Griffin. Do you have anything to add? If so, I need to place you under oath, keeping in mind that you would have to tell the truth, and otherwise you risk the chance of perjuring yourself on in court. So,
yes, ma'am.
If you don't want to say anything, you will have the absolute right to remain silent and let the prosecutors handle the matter.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to do?
I would like to speak.
All right, please raise your right hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this new case allegedly occurred on September 2nd, 2023, when Mr. Griffin was expressly told to stay away from you.
Yes.
Okay. I don't need to hear anything else, but do you have something to add?
One thing I could add is that he's trying to get him a job. Well, he have a job, but he can't go to work because of the incident that's going on. And he have changed. He have changed some. So he's not. He have changed and trying to change, and he's going to work at the airport.
Okay. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. You may mute your screen, or the host could help her do that. Ms. Atay, anything else to add?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. On the Mr. Griffin, I'm not sure why you couldn't understand the last bond order, but it's pretty clear. You are supposed to stay 200 yards away from Melissa Jones and not have any contact with her. And yet, apparently, you were released from the Fulton County Jail on August 10th of this year. And you allegedly, or according to Ms. Jones, you are now in contact with her on September 2nd, which is a violation of the bond order in the previous case. And now you're back to square one. On the simple battery is a $15,000 surety bond. On the criminal trespass is a $2,500 surety bond. Total bond is set at $17,500. It's going to be a surety bond. If you are released on bond, you are to be equipped with an ankle monitor to make sure that you stay away from Melissa Jones. You stay away from 1890 Myrtle Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. Your next court date is going to be December 21st at 9 a.m. As I said in the previous order, you are to have no contact with Melissa Jones. If she calls you, you cannot answer the phone. If she comes to you, you need to shut the door. You are to stay 200 yards away from her. You cannot communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And you are definitely to stay 200 yards away from wherever she's located or wherever her home is. If you both share any children, you will need to file a legitimation action and get a court order to establish joint custody and visitation with the children. Your next court date is going to be December 21st. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Thank you. And Ms. Bridgewater, we're going to reset both cases. This current case as well as the one ending in 4806F.
Okay, can you give me that complete case number because it's not on here?
23 CR 00 4806F.
Thank you.
Yeah. Position 5, Cherry.
So what's my wrong?
Christopher Willis Cherry is accused of loitering and prowling and willful obstruction from December 6th. The accusation is 23 CR 7773F. And Mr. Cherry, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has arrest cycles out of Georgia and Virginia, felony conviction in 2003 for possession of controlled substance, 2012 bail jumping, 2015 there's a felony robbery conviction out of Virginia. The last arrest was October 16th, 2023 out of Fulton County for a probation violation. There appears to be an open case out of Fulton County for possession of cocaine. That number is 23 SC 191439. And there also appears to be a hold out of Albany, Georgia, and a hold out of Ashburn, Georgia. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Ponce Presbyterian Church located at 163 Ponce de Leon. Apparently, the defendant was at that location, refusing to leave. The state is just simply referring signature bond through the jail and to stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
I can only do a signature bond through the jail to one of the holds.
That's fine, Your Honor. And that's the only reason why we didn't refer this case to PAD, but I understand he has multiple holds, and so I don't think he's going to be directly released.
Any objection, Ms. Ate?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it's going to be $500 each. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. So it's a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail and a release to either the Albany hold or the Ashburn hold, whichever comes and picks him up first. To stay 200 yards away from the Presbyterian Church. Is it the Ponce de Leon Presbyterian Church?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. In on Ponce de Leon Avenue. Thank you.
Position 15, Parham. Be quiet.
This is State versus Leori Parham, accused of false report of a crime, case 23 CR 7780D. And this is from December 6, 2023. Mr. Parham, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 9 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was September the 29th, 2023 out of Hogansville for criminal trespass. That case is still open. There's also open cases in Troup County for aggravated assault. Out of Dougherty County, there's simple battery and harassing phone calls. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2027 Bader Avenue due to the defendant calling 911 several times, reporting miscellaneous crimes that were simply untrue. Upon making contact with other family members at that location, they confirmed that no crimes had in fact occurred. I believe the defendant called approximately 4 or 5 times reporting false crimes. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. Not only call 911 if there's a true emergency. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Right. All right. Mr. Cook, this is going to be a signature bond through the jail. Any objection? Yeah, all right. So I'm reading lips and I think I heard no objection. Okay. All right. Mr. Parham.
At some point, it's going to be a disbarable offense to keep doing this, I guess, but
Not
no
yet.
objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
I didn't get the amount, though. What was it?
The amount is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Mr. Parham, right now you can sign up for your bond and be released.
Thank you, ma'am.
However, if you make any 911 calls and there appears to be no merit to the call, you will be arrested again and brought back to jail. And your next bond, you would have to pay for it.
Yes, ma'am. I did.
So if you need to make a 911 call on behalf of someone, I highly recommend that you make sure there's someone with you to corroborate that call.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, you're going to jeopardize your freedom and be back in jail. And you really can't afford to do that considering you have multiple cases in your prior history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 18, Thornton.
This is State versus Derek Thornton, accused of simple battery domestic violence from June 21st of 2022. Case is 23 CR 7783J. And Mr. Thornton, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Ms. Hardy?
Okay, this defendant has 26 arrest cycles in Georgia, felony conviction in 2022 for aggravated stalking. Their last arrest was April the 15th, 2021 out of Fulton for aggravated stalking. They appear to be on probation for that. The case number is 21 SC 180031. There's a misdemeanor conviction in 2018 for a CWAC charge. The recommendation from pretrial is a level 3 UJR, nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walker? Are you on mute, sir?
Okay, let me get back to my notes. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1183 Oakland Lane, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Adrienne Gay. She advised that the defendant is her child's father. They were engaged in some type of verbal disagreement that turned physical. He did, hold on a second, push her to the ground and punch her in the nose before fleeing the scene. The state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond. No contact with the victim, and stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we assigned for the victim is Adrienne Gay.
Adrienne Gay? All right. Mr. Cook, any response? And also, I want to know who was the alleged victim from the indicted case?
From the convicted case, it's Miss Day, and it looks like he would still be on probation for that matter.
All right, Mr. Cook, anything to add?
Your Honor, the accuser and the accused have lived together for 20 years. They have 3 children together. We've gotten a little bit of a hurry on the interviews because of time, so I'm not quite clear on what address. My client lives at 147 Ormond Street, Atlanta. I tried to reach Ms. Gay and could not do that this afternoon, but we would be looking for a signature bond. We have no problem with that being through pretrial, but given the nature of their long relationship and the sharing of 3 kids, we want as much flexibility on the ability to get together as possible.
Okay. I'm looking at the last disposition on a probation violation in 21 SC 180031. And this is a final disposition in which Mr. Thornton is expressly required to have no violent contact with the victim, Adrienne Gay. And this was signed off by Judge Krause on May 3rd, 2022. The alleged offense in this case is June 21st, 2022, which appears to be a violation of Judge Krause's order. Well, I mean, obviously, there's no disposition right now on the violation since that still has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. But given the procedural history of this case and the procedural history of his convictions, the bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's going to be a surety bond. No contact with Adrienne Gale, and to stay away from 1183 Oakland Lane in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever she happens to live. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and next court date is going to be December 21st. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Deputy Francois, are we concluded with the
yes, our last 3 cases, Judge, which is positions 1, 14, and 17, they're all breakout.
Okay, position 14, we can summon Mr. Norwood.
Position 14. Come on, Mr. Norwood. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Which one you want to do first, Judge?
14.
Okay, come on.
Harmon Norwood. All right, we can pause the live stream and the